Hi guys and welcome to the circus. So today we have another CFA fight for you guys. This is me up against my friend. He is now using his favorite clan, which is Murakumo, with Hyuga and the one-off Shirayuki. Fun fact, this is one of the first playtests that I did with the Nightmare Dolls with Silverthorn engine. And this was actually really fun to do because it was my first what do you call it? One of my first experiences playing with this deck. First, what the frick am I saying? Alright, so we drew into amazing hand. We still run Jill in this list, by the way. Sadly, I don't have Jills. Alright, so we ride onto our Linnea, draw card, use Romy right there to fetch the top 3 cards and then get every single Silverthorn that I see. And we got two Linneas. We just put everything into the soul. I don't know why I put the front trigger right there. In this variant, you don't always need the other, what do you call it? The Silverthorn triggers to be in the soul because you don't really run the you don't run what you call it, Lillians and the other Silverthorns that relies on more different names in the soul. And yeah, okay, so he rides onto his grade 3 searcher, fetches a Hyuga and discards the quick shield. All right, so we're starting off pretty good actually. His hand size is quite big. He checks a crit. Alright, typical Sir PJ. Checks a crit on the first swing. So we ride onto our Jill. My opponent and my friends actually were quite confused, like, what? You run Jill on Silverthorns? And he runs Beverly on Silverthorns? He was actually quite confused. And he checked our own crit. In your face. Alright, so crit for crit, 2 for 2. Alright, so we proceed to our opponent's turn, right, grade 2, and he goes for an assist. Alright, so let's see here. He has a lot of grade 1s and 2 grade 3s, and yeah, a bunch of grade 1s and a grade 3s. Alright, so checks top 5, and what will he fetch? Will he okay, he removed 1 copy of that grade 1 right there. And what else will he remove? Alright, so pretty much you can pretty much say that he got a grade 2. He just needs to decide on what he will remove from the game. And he wrote into I can't see properly. Okay, let's just continue with the game. He writes on the grade 2 and returns everything into his hand. Okay, so let's see what happens right here. What is happening? Okay, so okay, he rides onto, he calls another grade 3 searcher, gets another Hyuga, and then puts him into his hand and discards a card. What will he discard? I think he will discard I don't know how to play Hyuga, by the way. So I'm still learning. He discards the other grade 1. Alright, so he proceeds to battle phase and swings for 17. I say no guard. Alright, so he checks nothing there. Thankfully, he didn't check a crit again. Alright, so we proceed to our first grade 3 turn. We ride Transformation Jutsu from Silverthorn into Nightmare Dolls. We draw a card into a Rising Dragon and checks top 5. Fetch ourselves a copy of Alice. We actually want to do a little bit of multi-attacking right here to push his hand and push the damage in order to go for that amazing turn on the next few grade 3 turns that we'll have. Alright, so we call our Alice. In this situation, actually, if you want to go for a multi-attacking right here, it requires 2 counter blast and what you call it? But you will need to have another you need to have another Carroll in hand in order to ride up again next turn and still going with your engine. Right here, I don't have another copy of Carroll, and let's just see what happens. Even though we can't do our engine on the next few turns, we use our Romy once again and fetch another Silver Thorn into the soul, and our soul is pretty compact. It's full of Silver Thorns, but we still don't have our Salvia yet to be called. We have her in our hand, and let's just see what happens. We swing for 17 onto his face, and we check up front, and then we check another Jill, and then he heals. It doesn't go off, but it's a defensive trigger. In this situation, we can get over defenses pretty easily. Alright, so we swing for 27 with our Alice right there, and then he guards for a 20k shield. That's the biggest shield that he has in his hand, I believe. So we use Alice right there, Soul Blast our front trigger right there, and call out. What did we call? Did we call out? I believe we called out a Linnea, because calling a Jill is it's not quite useful in this situation. Okay, so we call our Linnea to the back row behind our Rising Dragon and use our Vanguard skill to discard the 2 cards, and then CB1. No, we don't need to CB1. We already CB'd 1, you dumb bunny. Alright, so we ride on to our Alice, draw card, and then we got another Sylvia, which is really nice. And then we give our Vanguard +5 because of Beverly, call another Workeroid from our soul, and then okay, so we are thinking here on calling what do you call it? Either Beverly, Beverly, Jill, or our Carroll in the soul. If we called our Carroll, it's fine, but it's a risk. It's kind of risky to lose a Carroll in the soul, so we just called a Jill and then move the other Linnea to the other side because Rising Dragon will already hit over defensives. So it's actually it's actually kind of a misplay because it's such a waste of an ability. He checks another defensive, checks a draw card, and then actually we check the crit. So in your face. Alright, so we swing for our 29k, and then we swing once again with our Jill, and then okay, so he used Shirayuki there to reduce my entire front row by 10k, which puts me into not hitting his Vanguard anymore. But we still used the Linnea there to soul charge 1, and we got another Carroll. I'd rather just put it in the soul than damage check it because it's more useful in the soul. Alright, so thankfully we push our opponent to 5. Actually, that's really nice. It's really nice early game. So he rides onto HYU-GA once again, and then uses that skill, and then I don't know. Okay, he called a grade 3 searcher again, and then he didn't get anything. He called that guy in the back row. I still don't know what happens here. I believe he copies something. Okay, he uses HYU-GA to call out Hyaki Vogue. I believe it's Hyaki Vogue. Alright, so I just know that the playstyle of this is just making the entire board of the opponent the same name, so that we can use Hyaki Vogue or not Shirayuki. Hyaki Vogue or HYU-GA to bounce. No, it's a bounce to turn everything on my board to the bottom of the deck, which is really devastating. Alright, so did he do it right here? I actually kind of forgot if he did it. He's at 5 damage, low on hand cards, and if we manage to survive this, we can probably win next turn, just maybe. Alright, so he proceeds now to something, right? I don't know if he proceeds to battle phase right here, but let's see. Alright, so if you guys hear the rain right now, I'm sorry about it. I'll try to fix it somehow. Alright, so enough of that. Okay, he proceeds to battle phase. He swings for 50k onto my face. Oh my god, that's a huge number. Alright, so what happens here? He just gave a bunch of units power and then just started swinging like crazy, like 4 attacks of that number is really really strong. I lost the word there. I'm sorry about that. Alright, so he said no guard. Alright, so I forgot to press end phase there. Remember guys, if you play CFA, always press end phase when you're done, because it changes your drive check to damage check and your opponent's damage check to drive check, if that makes sense. Alright, we check. He checks nothing there, thankfully. Now we take 1 damage. We didn't check anything there. We guard again. We just use Jill right there because what you call it, she's now useless when after calling her from the soul, unless you put it back in somehow. So we guard for 35, so we put our Vanguard onto 57, and that's more than enough. Alright, so he uses that grade 3 skill to scoop him in the soul and draw a card, and then he proceeds to end phase, and here we go. We are about to do our final reset. We are about to do our final turn. Alright, so we ride on to Nightmare Doll Alice. Sadly, we don't have a Carroll. That's fine. We still ride on to Alice and call the Alice from Soul, meaning we can do multi attack still. Yeah. So take a look at our Soul. We have a lot of Silver Thorns and we have Salvia. As you can see, this combo right here, as I said before in my previous CFA highlights, Salvia is a lifesaver when you have a bad hand. So when you're when you're in a tight situation and you have Salvia and a bunch of Silver Thorns, you can use Salvia right there to CB1, call two more Linneas from Soul. It doesn't matter if it's not Linnea, but Linnea is one of the best call targets aside from Rising Dragon, because Linnea is such a free card. Linnea is such an amazing low rarity card that you can easily get. She is a Soul Charger and a Beat Stick in one card, which is really nice for Pale Moon, especially on those decks that lack Soul, just like Nightmare Dolls. Sometimes we lack Soul and we just call two more Linneas from our Soul. And if you guys are hearing the rain, I am sorry about it. I'm sorry. Alright, so we swing with our one drive check. Our not restanding Vanguard, a vanilla Vanguard 24k, and then we check. First check, it's a Beverly, and we check another Great 3, which is a Comigality Chimera, which is not a trigger, unfortunately. And then we proceed to still doing our best to push our opponent. Now, since we called 2 cards, our Rising Dragon from before still procs his skill to give himself plus 10k. Alright, so we swing with our Linneas. We want to swing with our Linneas first, hopefully to get something good in the Soul, because we still have our Alice right there. And we can hope that you can Soul Charge something good. We didn't check again. We keep on Soul Charging triggers right there. I wish I could have just Soul Charged used the Linneas first before swinging with Vanguard. That was quite a bit of misplay, but it's something you can't just control that easily. So yeah. Alright, so he checks a 6 damage heal. He checks a 6 damage heal, folks. That puts me into a bad spot, honestly. If he can manage to guard more, I can possibly just still lose this game. Alright, so we still don't have a proper target for our Alice right there. We swing once again with our boosted Salvia, and we still don't get a single good target for our Alice. I was hoping for a Rising Dragon, honestly, but he didn't came up, so that's too bad. Okay, so we swing for 22. He can easily guard everything else with just his remaining hand, and sadly we can't do anything about it. We just pass our turn, and I'm still trying to swing with Alice, but I don't have I don't have a proper target for him, because if I did have something here that can get over 22, that would have been that would have been the end of the game, I guess. We could have won in that situation, but sadly we didn't, so that's that's that. I can do anything about it now. Alright, so well, I still want to try to take out his units because, you know, just taking out some units might just help me survive his onslaught next turn. But I believe HYU-GA can still call for free from deck. So yeah, we proceed to our opponent's final turn as well. We are at 5 damage. We can't check a defensive. We are low on hand cards. We only have 2 intercepts on board, but it doesn't really matter when we are facing a HYU-GA deck. He can just bounce everything, not bounce, he can just return everything on my board to the bottom of the deck just like that. Alright, so we proceed to putting everything else from our board to the bottom of the deck. That is so devastating. We still have a bit of luck left on our hand cards, but you know, if we can manage to survive, I mean, it's gonna be hard, but let's just see what happens. All right, so what will he do here? Our board is like a silver thorn end phase. We don't have a board. All right, so we swing for 50k. That is so big, and then we just guard it with a 30k shield for a 42. We still, oh god. Okay, so he checks one right there, and then we check a Carroll for an enemy ending, and that's the game.